it is time to reevaluate the Packers' needs after the free agency. Which I can honestly say, I'm just happy we did something. Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to an episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't have to be a Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom Grossi. Thank you so much for watching. And today's episode, we're just going to kind of revisit. We made a video in the past about a couple months ago, really breaking down the top 5 needs that the Packers needed to address, or top 5 positions the Packers needed to address in the draft. Well, that list has changed. Things have shifted. And so because of that, this is Top 5 Needs 2.0. Before we get to that, you have a little less than 2 weeks to pick up some Packcast merch. After 4 years, I have finally delivered onto thee. Check out bonfire.com/Packcast to pick up your hoodies, your long sleeve tees, your jersey tees, and your t-shirts in multiple different colors to support various different teams. And thank you very much for the support and those who have already ordered. And a big thank you and shout out to the Patreons who have supported me over at patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy. You can check that out for some cool rewards. Now, I'm going to cheat a little bit with this first one here. I'm not going to lie. I hope you can forgive me. The number 5 is also going to be the number 6. There's like a tie here. In between, it is pass rusher and also cornerback. I know it's kind of cheating, but I feel like I couldn't leave either of these positions off of this list. And so I was like, hey, I make the rules here, so let's just wind up combining them. Now, pass rusher, if you recall, was previously numero uno on my list this year and last year and the year before and the year before and the year before and the year before. And thankfully, it's not number 1 anymore. Now, to address pass rusher real quick, again, the fact that we got Zadarius Smith, we got Preston Smith has definitely helped, right? It has moved it from the number 1 need to the number 5 need. We still have Fackrell and Gilbert who can help at outside linebacker. However, you could still pick up one of an edge rusher for some extra help. I wouldn't be surprised because now that we can get a best player available, that's how we can draft because we're not basically drafting out of need now. I wouldn't be shocked if we go with pass rusher at number 12 or even at number 30, considering that this draft is pretty pass rusher friendly this year. So I still think that we can get somebody to shore up the middle of the field, some pass rusher action to get to the QB. It can always be a good thing. And then cornerback, I wasn't originally going to have him on the list, but then we got rid of Bashawn Breeland, and I was like, you know what, we should. Because I feel like the Packers are taking a bit of a gamble here by not going with some people that are obviously injury prone, and it's also a very young backfield, right? So we're risking a lot on Kevin King, who has played a total of 11 games in the past 2 seasons. Jai Alexander, who had a great rookie season, is looking to improve on that. He is the one that I'm least worried about. And then you also have Josh Jackson, who struggled at times last year. Again, needs lots of experience, is still a newbie coming out of that backfield. And so I feel like out of all of those, I believe the most in Alexander, even though King has the most experience, just because there's no guarantee or assurances that King is going to be healthy. I mean, the Packers are really kind of rolling the dice on him and hopefully that this 3rd year he can really step up and hopefully be healthy. But I feel like we could get another cornerback to kind of help out that position just to make things a little bit easier, and so I could go to sleep with both eyes at night. That's a weird thing. I was trying to say not keep one eye open, but I wouldn't either. I don't know what I'm saying. Number 4, we got offensive lineman. Now, previously, this was number 3, and this was also helped out with free agency with the signing of Billy Turner from Denver, a guy who is very flexible and can play guard or tackle. He also didn't give up a single sack last year when he played as guard, but if you are a Packers fan, you know that we could always use more depth on the offensive line, considering everybody and their mother is usually getting hurt. The only guy who didn't get hurt last year was good old Corey Linsley, who started every single game, which he has just been a staple of that offensive line as a center. So I think, obviously, for injuries and also for a replacement of Brian Bulaga, if eventually we wind up replacing him, this would definitely be a good position to target, because if we're paying our quarterback $1 quadrillion, we should probably wind up protecting him. So I think that's it's good at number 4. And again, this was previously number 3, but the Billy Turner signing definitely did help with there. Number 3, previously number 5 on the list, was inside linebacker. News today of Jake Ryan getting shipped off to the Jacksonville Jaguars, meaning that right now our only inside linebacker is good old James Crawford, who's sitting on the sidelines there. We also have our middle linebackers of Blake Martinez and Oren Burks, who hopefully will, continue to have good seasons. So I think it wouldn't be the worst thing to get somebody there, because right now we ain't got a whole lot of inside linebacker. So we really need to deal with that. And by the way, with Jake Ryan leaving, that means that we no longer have a single guy from the 2015 draft class. That hurts, but at least we're not the Giants, who, like, from 2007 to 2015 don't have anyone less on their team. So, there's that. Number 2. Now, this one I struggled with. And I think that either of these you could flip them either way. But I'm going to go with number 2, the safety position, which at the top 5 last time was also at the number 2 position. Now, we obviously signed Adrian Amos, who is going to definitely help out that backfield. But right now, we have Josh Jones, Tramon Williams, and Raven Green. Those are the real big names that are back there. Tramon Williams showing that he could still play at a high level. That's a little bit up for debate. I love Tramon Williams, but we definitely, again, as I said when we signed him last year, he's a Band-Aid to the problem, and we really need to address the problem. Amos was addressing that, but we need someone else to help him out. Josh Jones, who was complaining last year about the lack of play time, I don't know if it's the coaching staff or the front didn't trust him enough, that he wasn't producing when he was actually getting the opportunities, that he just needed to play better. Obviously, with a new coaching staff and obviously Mike Pettin continuing his second year in Green Bay, I think that's going to be good for Jones, and it's really going to be a sink or swim season for him. If we're going to put him at safety and we're just going to kind of see how he does, well, listen, buddy, if you're complaining about playing time, you're going to get the playing time. You just need to make the most of it. And then Raven Green even showed some flashes there, but I would love to invest a high-quality draft pick at this. Again, I don't really see a guy at number 12 that we can wind up picking for safety, but maybe at number 30 or maybe even in the second round. I wouldn't be surprised if we can get someone there. And finally, number 1, which was basically at the end of the list. It was number 4 previously, and I feel like if this is our number 1 problem, we are in really good shape, and that is tight end. Now, again, before you attack me on this, I think safety and tight end could either be at number 1 or number 2. But having tight end being here is a great problem to have. Just a friendly reminder that Jimmy Graham is the highest paid tight end in the NFL right now, which hurts my soul. But hopefully he can return to his former glory, and then this won't be an issue anymore. But again, we're going to have to get someone at least a little bit younger for his future. But the problem is that we have not had a real threat at tight end ever since Jermichael Finley. And some of you might be saying, but Tom, what about Jared Cook, who will always be remembered for the divisional catch against the Cowboys? But that season, he dealt with a bunch of injuries. He only had 377 yards and 1 touchdown on the season. So I know a lot of you are even potentially saying to sign Jared Cook now, but as I've said in multiple episodes, I am tired of going out into free agency, signing a veteran tight end who is at the tail end or the twilight of his career, and it's just Band-Aid, 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 Band-Aid. I actually want to draft a playmaker. And there is potential that we can get our playmaker at tight end at 12 and or 30 who can make an immediate difference in this offense and actually get a red zone target and actually get a target for Aaron Rodgers to really just sling the ball to and obviously make that offensive passing game more dynamic and more dangerous. We also have Mercedes Lewis, right, who is the blocker. And on top of that, we have Robert Tonyan, who really didn't get a lot of playing time, even though he did have that touchdown in Seattle. But I think one of the things that we need to also look at is that previously, you really didn't have the tight ends doing anything under Mike McCarthy. Back in 2009, when Jermichael Finley was at the center of that, right? He was the center of that entire offense. He goes down, and McCarthy's like, oh crap, we need to basically throw out the entire playbook because we centered our entire offense around him. He never went back there. It was so for McCarthy, it was basically all or nothing. And that's why one of the reasons why all these tight ends that we have signed over the years haven't put up big numbers, haven't done really well because the schemes, the play calling, it really hasn't been there for them to succeed. Now that we have Matt LeFleur in as our new head coach, hopefully those schemes will be different and it'll give the tight ends opportunities to be successful. But let me know what you think down in the comments below about my top 5. I'm pretty confident with it, but again, I think safety and tight end can be reversed. They can go either way, and I'm excited to see which one of these, if not all of these, we address in the draft. Let me know what you think down below. You can always find me at TomGrossiComedy.com, TomGrossI Comedy, or at Tom Grossi Comedy at all the social medias, including Patreon, and check out podcasts on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, and of course here on YouTube multiple times per week. But thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack Go.